If you are a regular on this channel, you've probably heard me say things like this before, and it's not something that I made up. It's not something that I invented or considered for the very first time, but it's a really important aspect of my strategy for all of my life. How can I have an information advantage over others in every single thing I do? How can I know more about my product, my markets, who I'm selling to, the buyer that I'm talking to, the customers who are ultimately going to buy my product or services? How can I know more about all of those things? Well, this information advantage, in my humble opinion, is also the key to investing. And I had a bit of an epiphany last night, and I will also explain, which I'll explain later, and I'll also explain why Tesla fell yesterday, why it won't stay down and isn't staying down this morning, and more. And this is Randy Kirk. Hit like and subscribe if this is content that's useful to you. Hit notify if you want to be reminded that Brian White will be back with us at noon today. And then possibly you want to think about getting yourself some of these. And we'll talk about that later. Okay. We will talk about all the huge issues today. We'll talk about the Fed. We'll talk about the strike. We'll talk about oil prices. But first, yesterday, there was half a dozen articles in various online resources talking about the tipping point being close on electric cars in the United States. Some of them were talking about worldwide as well. These articles were breathlessly reporting the possibility of the most fundamental reasons I am in the stock. I have as much money as I can possibly reasonably afford to have in Tesla right now. You'd think maybe that my reason would be it's the brilliance of Elon Musk. Yeah, but I don't have an advantage there. At least half the population of the United States and the world think he's brilliant. No, for me, it's Tony Seba. And I'm betting that less than 1% of the humans in the United States and less than 10% of investors, even savvy ones, know who Tony Seba is or have any understanding of his theories regarding disruption. But he posted on Twitter the other day, he posted on X, that in his 2014 book, he predicted that car batteries, would drop in price to under $100 per kilowatt hour in 2023. And independent sources have just reported that this has become the case. The unique knowledge that I have, and that you might already have, is that Tony Seba is an amazing genius who has unlocked a principle that plays out over and over again. Of course, Cathie Wood believes it. Her entire investing philosophy is based on it. Elon Musk believes it. And, he believes Tony, and you can see in his vision. His vision is shaped by the things that Tony Seba has written. If you don't fully grasp what Tony Seba is saying, or worse, if you don't really know who he is or what he has said, you need to make sure you watch this 5-part series on disruption that was on YouTube just about, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago. It won't be hard to find. Just look out Tony Seba and disruption on YouTube. You'll find it for sure. So these articles were finally getting it. That's why I'm saying they were breathless. It's like, oh my gosh, look at here. We have a disruption taking place. And here's what a disruption is. And let me explain it. When any disruptive product reaches about 5 to 10% penetration in a market, well, then the costs start coming down. And because the costs start coming down and the marketplace is becoming more aware of the product, then the sales go from going along in a nice, gentle upward curve. All of a sudden, they go exponential. This has been proven over and over and over again. Tony goes all the way back to the automobile disrupting horses. Of course, he talks about the iPhone disrupting the flip phone. I was sure glad that happened. But even the flip phones disrupted landlines being able to do a phone electronically rather than over a landline was a big disruption. So Tony's talked about all these disruptions that he's studied. And this is now happening with BEVs. We have dozens of examples. This is not something that's hard to study. You can go and look and see what happened in the Netherlands going from when it hit 5% and it went absolutely straight up in a the curve just went, the S curve started, and we ended up now in the Netherlands at 80%. You've got over 35% in China. You've got over 20, right around 25% in Europe and 25% in California. Okay, so this is going to repeat. It's going to repeat all over the world. It's going to repeat in all the United States. It's not a hard thing to watch happen. It's the numbers are clear as to what happens in these kind of disruptions. That is my special knowledge that I have. If you don't have this special knowledge, I really encourage you again to take a look at Tony Seo. But it's obvious to me that most people do not have this special knowledge about disruption, and it's special knowledge that can help you make better stock investments. And the general concept of knowing more than everybody that's in the same business as you, that general concept will help you throughout life. I promise you, okay? So, all right, let's talk about the strike. I'm predicting this is going to be a long one. Thanksgiving long, Christmas long. Thane is ramping up his strike with more factories going out this Friday if reasonable progress isn't being made. The auto companies, I think, are yawning about this. I don't know, but the two sides are far, far apart. I don't think the auto companies have any chance of getting anywhere into the 30% range on this contract. And right now, Thane is in the mid-30s. The auto companies are down 20, 21%. I think it's probably going to end up a couple of points higher than that, but not much. He's going to be struggling to get even a couple more points. It reminds me of how many different people I've talked to that have been in divorces, and one or the other party has said, here's a reasonable suggestion. And then the other party says, no, that's not enough or whatever. And you end up spending millions of dollars on lawyers only to end up back at that same point. I think that's what's going to happen here, is that Thane is going to have this huge strike, which is going to be hard on his members, hard on the auto companies, cost them billions, cost the communities billions, cost the economy billions, and all for maybe another couple of cents. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Another couple of percentages. I'm sorry. Anyway, most of the analysts are saying that Tesla wins no matter what. It's not, you don't want to always win as somebody else is suffering, but if they're going to suffer, at least in this case, maybe you get a win anyway. Meanwhile, Tesla dropped yesterday. Why? Well, Goldman talked about the potential for more price cuts. They didn't say that there's been a lot of price cuts. They said, yeah, it looks like, Tesla might have to drop prices in the future. Well, overall, there's been some adjusting of quarter end estimates of what the shipments are going to be, quarter end adjustments with regard to what margins are going to be. If you looked at my numbers, I think I put them out on Saturday for 2023. I think the numbers in the third quarter are going to be a little soft, but not necessarily the margins. I think the margins could come in easily at 18 or higher, and that beat could be a big deal if it happens. That beat could really help the stock later in October. I do think the fourth quarter will be excellent. I think the fourth quarter will be good for shipments, and I think the fourth quarter will see even some more increases in margins compared to the third quarter. And then margin increases might start to flatten off until second quarter of 2024. All right, so let's see. Oil cannot go down. There's no supply until the Saudis, until the Saudi Arabians give up their quest. There's supposed to be supply coming on board. I read a very good reporter, I reported to you 3-4 weeks ago that there is supply supposedly coming on from Canada, from the United States, and from what they call the 5 hungry countries: Venezuela, Iraq, Iran, etc., Syria. And these guys apparently are going to be adding some more oil into the system. I don't think it's going to be enough. So I think it's going to 100. The Saudis said this morning, it's not about getting the price up. What are they kidding me? Anyway, they're ripping higher this morning. Gasoline prices are going higher. $6.50 here in California, I think, is what I've heard. I know I paid almost $6 the other day. Trueflation is at 2.62 this morning, which is just about the middle of where it has been for a month. And it's within the range of where it has been for a good 3 months. It's been as low as 2.25. It's been as high as 2.75. But man, for the last 3 months, it's been pretty much in the 2.5, 2.6 range, telling me that inflation is over. And that's the year over year number. Okay. So I think we're not going to have any more increases from the Fed unless trueflation is really off, or unless the government numbers, and these other numbers, the PCE and the CPI, unless these numbers are just getting it wrong. Right now, the only category that's going up is transportation because of oil and gas. Everything else is perfectly within range. Food and beverages, housing, everything is just fine. The only thing that is keeping this thing alive is oil. Hopefully the Fed is seeing that, and these price increasing rates will not do anything to cause that. Now let's talk about housing. That's what all the reporting is over the last couple of days. So here it is. Housing starts dropped to a seasonally adjusted rate of 1.283 million last month, well below the expected 1.44 million. This is according to data yesterday from the Census Bureau. This is not expected. I did not expect it. However, building permits, tracking the number of units that are going to be made in the future, they climbed 6.9% above July's revised number, to a seasonally adjusted 1.443, which is pretty close to what the market was expecting on the actual units being built. It's the highest level in 10 months, but they were still 2.7% lower than a year ago. Home builder confidence was way off of expectations. Mortgage rates being blamed. It's hard to say which way home building will go over the next 6 months. But guess what? I have extremely high confidence we're not going to build enough housing to put a dent in the deficit that we have right now in terms of inventory. And so what does that mean? If you are interested in real estate at all, you own real estate, et cetera, and you care about these kind of things, your house is going to be worth more at the end of next summer than it is now. Okay. Housing prices will be going up again next spring. There's just no inventory, and there's not going to be. Model X delivery dates have been extended another month. That's the good news, but the China deliveries came in light at 8,500. That's not unexpected given the Model 3 situation. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks. And of course, we'll get the numbers about 2 weeks from now for the entire, for all of Tesla numbers on the 2nd usually. All right, that's all coming up. And I think the whole thing is going to be a little lighter, way lighter than I was hoping for, but the street is probably right to be reducing those numbers right now. So we got Powell speaking tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern. I'll be reporting about an hour after the end of the speech. I will gather myself together and come up with what I think about what he said. And then there will be the regular Wednesday night programming, which will hopefully in either one or both of those, I'll have some additional help with the analysis, probably from Larry. We'll see if I can get him. He's on the road someplace, and I'm trying to see if we can get Larry on to talk about what the Fed says tomorrow afternoon. So the market was sagging this morning, probably in response to oil up and bond yields up strongly. Last time I looked, Tesla was up. That's probably because it was down so much yesterday. So we probably had some people, what did I say yesterday? Buying the dip, because it was not really fundamentally or technically in the books yesterday for that fall. It was just surprising and shocking. Some of you said, "Hey, Randy, you can't always figure it out. If you've got to drop a 3% with a flat on a particular stock in a flat market, 50 plus years of my experience of playing the market says something happened." Okay, that's just me. I don't know. All right, let's take a look. Well, now Tesla is down. The market continues down, and Tesla has flipped. It is now down to another 1%. The market is down. This Dow is down 0.18%. NASDAQ is down almost 0.5%. Apple is now down. It was up. It also flipped. The Meta among the tech stocks is the only one that's up, including NVIDIA, which is down a full percent. You've got the Cathie Woods all down. So this was all mixed a few minutes ago. Now it's all down. we're 25 minutes into the market. Hard to say how things will turn out today, but generally speaking, when you've got this kind of a flip early, I'm saying that it's going to be flat to down all day. I think people are just nervous about whether the Fed is going to be at least neutral and hopefully a little dovish tomorrow. And I think that nervousness is affecting everybody right now. So let me look at the other numbers real quick to see if they stayed or if they've all changed since I last looked. Crypto's up strongly. Not sure what's going on there. Just over 27, because I don't follow crypto at all. I'm sorry, Bitcoin is up over 27,000. We've got the dollar staying pretty even. Gold is up a tiny bit. 1956, that's up quite a bit over the last few days. We've got oil, yes, 92.53, up a buck, another buck today. Brent at 95, it's only $5 away from 100. And we've got bonds up 0.024, the 10-year at 4.343, and the 2-month is up and the 2-year is up, both just fractionally, just a tiny bit, but the 2-year is still way over 5, almost a 5.1. So generally speaking, this morning, I would say the market is not going to be going crazy today in anticipation of Powell tomorrow. I think they're going to be taking a wait and see attitude. Anything could happen. Any kind of news could change it all, as you saw with Tesla just now taking a 2% swing in just 15 minutes that I've been talking to you. So if you haven't done it yet, hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. Larry White coming on later today. Larry White, that's a new one. I wonder if I can get Larry White on the channel. Brian White will be on later today, and we'll be talking about the battery show. Very interesting. I didn't know there was a big, huge, massive battery show. He attended. He got lots of information. He broke news, and we will talk about that probably around 11 o'clock Pacific today. All right. Have you bought it yet? There you go. The numbers are coming in every single day. Really impressive. Thank you so much. For those who are doing it partially out of support, that is so kind of you. For those of you who are doing just because you really want one. All right. I put them up yesterday on Amazon. As I told you, I've already got orders. They are at $29.95 on Amazon, but I am going to hold the price right here at $25. So if you're ready to buy, this is the time. Go ahead and go over to PayPal and paypal.me /Randy Kirk, all in lowercase. And then you can get in camo also, same price, $25 for each one. We should be charging so much more for the camo because, it costs money to wrap. Anyway, comes in a great box, of course. I've told you all this before. And, for those of you who've heard this repeated and repeated, I'm sorry, but I do it at the very end so you can't turn me off. So if you haven't bought it yet, now is the time. Or if you'd like to join Patreon, you can get free books still, 2 audio books. If you buy at the $10 level, 1 audio book. If you buy at the $5 level, or if you buy at the $10 level, you can, sign up on Patreon at the $10 level. All that information is down below. And if you sign up at the $10 level, you can get a free either camo or stainless version of the Cybertruck bottle opener and refrigerator magnet. Huge magnet. Look at this magnet. And it's 3 millimeters thick, just like the Cybertruck. Anyway, you know what to do. Go to the information below. Just click on the links and everything will be taken care of. I look forward to talking to you a couple more times a day. And for this morning, it's been great talking to you.